Testing, testing. Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode, Michael Lab Show, episode 135. I hope everyone's enjoying their day, enjoying the week, enjoying I think this is the last week you guys are we're gonna be voting on a new president. I'm pretty sure this is the last week because I think election day is Saturday. I'm pretty sure. It's also the same day we set our clocks back an hour. So I think we get an extra hour of sleep at the same time we get a new president. Or we don't get a new president. But also not CNN or Fox. So that's not my job to keep everyone up to date with that stuff. But yeah, man, it's been a whole 4 years. 2016, Donald Trump went in office. Could be 2020 to 2024. Who knows? I don't care. Either way, don't really care. Never have cared. Doesn't bother me. Joe Biden wins. Cool. Like, the only worries I have is, like, the economy with Joe Biden. Donald Trump, the only worries I have with him is him continuing to be an asshole. But, you know, it's neither here or there. What are you going to do? This is life. This is how life works. Every 4 years, we get a new president. I don't know. This year's been, like, it's been the craziest time. Like, it's been the strangest election time. I think the biggest reason is, like, coronavirus really sparked a plug into the political climate. Like, I don't think it's ever been such a huge deal. Like, I thought about this before. Like, I remember 2016, which seemed like yesterday. There was a lot more hatred in the country. Like, not like right now. I feel like there's more divide than ever between people, between cultures, between political parties, between races. Unfortunately, between everybody, there seems to be a lot more tension. But I feel like in 2016, there's a lot more hatred. I don't know why I felt like that. I just remember Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump seemed so, like, violent. It seemed a lot of anger, and I could be completely off the mark, but this election right now just feels like desperation everywhere. I feel like everyone's just desperate right now, and I honestly think that people are under this belief that if something doesn't happen this election, that the country that we know it as is going to be broken apart. And there's times where I totally, like, I understand that. It makes sense. Even up to the point where I'm like, yeah, civil war. But then I really bring it back in. I was having a conversation with one of my buddies who is he was a Marine, still is a Marine, always a Marine. And I asked him, a few questions, and basically it's like, if shit does go down, we have the ability to just kind of smother it like that. Like you remember in Portland when all that stuff was going down with Chaz, or that was Seattle maybe. I don't know this stuff as good as a lot of people, which is crazy because I talk about it still, even though I don't know about it. We have the capability to just shut down stuff before it really loses its before it blows its top. And I just feel like either way, people are going to end up okay. And I just, maybe that's just me being too optimistic. But on Sunday morning, when we know who the new president's going to be on January 20th, there's going to be a completely different feeling in the world. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of just chaos going on right now. We need to center ourselves. If it wasn't for coronavirus, it wouldn't be a big deal. It would be a big deal, but it wouldn't be nearly as heightened as it is. Everything's just in an echo chamber right now, which sucks because parties are in an echo chamber. So then the whole world's in an echo chamber. We have this virus that we don't really know exactly how it affects people. My personal experience, I'm just going to go ahead and share it because I've been holding it back for a while, but I'm just going to go ahead and share my experience with coronavirus. Like, so as far as I know, I've never had it. I don't know if I could have had it at one point. Like, I remember it was like late February. I had a really bad sickness. I ended up going to the hospital for it. I had the shakes. I felt really weak. I couldn't really walk. It was about 12 hours, and I didn't throw up once. I went to the hospital. I ended up just having the flu. And I don't know, at this time, we didn't even have a test for coronavirus. We didn't even know what coronavirus was in this country. I think we knew what it was in China. We knew of it. I think we had the border shut down from China at this point. Maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. But I remember I was just really sick, and I remember going to the hospital, and they came back with the flu results, and I had the flu. And I don't know if you test positive for corona means you won't test positive for the flu. It could be that both sicknesses test positive, or coronavirus also test positive for the flu, or influenza test positive. Therefore, you don't test positive for corona. I'm not sure. I do know I ended up during the lockdown. Where I was living, there was people around me who had the virus. There was at one point I was living with 3 people who had the virus. I didn't have the virus. I didn't get sick. I was tested twice, never came back positive. I came back negative each time, and I don't know. It was really interesting. What was really fascinating, and everyone was isolating in the house, but I was around everybody, like, touching people, talking to people face to face. And I tested negative twice. What was really fascinating about it, which I thought was, which intrigued me the most, is there was a time, I was about a week into it, and I was a test into it. I came back negative, and I got a call from the University of Maryland and Baltimore College. I'm trying to think if I should talk about that. It happened. It should be public information. In my opinion, it should be shared with people. But I got called. So by the way, what was happening is, before this, I was taking heavy dosages of vitamins. So at the beginning of the lockdown, I knew early on that the most important thing was my health. I knew fitness was going to be super important. I knew that I was going to have to uptake my vitamin intake, supplement. I needed to continue just being a healthy person, because it's a sickness, it's a virus, and I do know that the best way to fight a virus is to have a healthier immune system, or at least it helps you. It's not like it hurts you. So I went online, and I was getting extra income from the federal government, the first stimulus package that got passed, the $1,200 stimulus check, and then also the additional $600 to unemployment. And I was like, that's when I really started saving money. But that's when I really started actually learning the importance of finances, once I finally started making money, which is like, I don't know how common that is, but like when you have money, but you don't have enough money, you spend money. But when you're making a decent amount of money, you don't spend money. It's probably just for me, it's probably just self-sabotage. But so I ordered these vitamin packs. They're from On It, and there was like a day supplement, and then there was a nighttime supplement. And what these supplements were is I can go ahead and tell you, Total Human. Just want to tell you guys what they were. A bunch of good stuff. You take something in the morning, you take something in the evening. They just give you like these little pouches. And I was taking them, I think I took them for 3 straight months. So March, April, May. So those 3 months. Just want to kind of run over what they have in them, so you guys kind of get so the day pack has Alpha Brain, which is a neurotropic formula for mental speed, memory, and focus, which I highly, that one right there probably helped me the most. Like, that was like, I've taken Adderall before, and I've taken Alpha Brain. I've taken Adderall long enough to know what it does to me and how it turns me into like human robot. And the focus I felt with Alpha Brain wasn't 100% the same thing, but at the same time, it was mental clarity. It really did. It helped me focus. It could have been a placebo, but I do know a company that stays around for so long and is doing super well, and also has like a 5-star review on all of its products. It could be placebo, or enough information proves to me that, hey, it's actually really, really good. So it was that. This is the morning packet. It had Alpha Brain. I was also taking Shroom Tech Sport, clinically studied ingredients combined to support cellular energy and cardiovascular endurance. Vitamin B12 is in it. Total human B complex, B vitamins. Then strong bone, designed to help the body build bone strength. Blah 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 blah. Night pack had new mood, key minerals, boron, calcium, magnesium, Virotec. So this is the one that I think helped me the most, and this is the one I'm going to talk about later. This is the one that everyone should still be taking, and I think this is something that everyone should be taking all the time. Once again, I'm not a trained professional. I have no background in medicine at all. This is just my personal experience, like my experience with these certain things. Virotec was probably the one that's best for health. A formulation includes vitamin C, which we all know is great for the immune system. Selenium, which I don't really know what that is. I guess I can look it up real quick. That's not what I want. Selenium. Supplement. It plays a critical role in metabolism and thyroid function, helps protect your body from damage caused by oxidative stress. What's more, selenium may help boost your immune system, slow age-related mental decline, even reduce your heart of health disease. That's from Healthline. So it also has that in it, and it has zinc. And there's plenty of, I think there's a lot of research on it. Zinc for COVID. Maybe not. I thought there was. So this is just one day ago. Vitamin D and zinc in fighting the coronavirus. Houston, Texas. Several recent studies have looked at the impact of vitamin D and zinc on COVID. One study of 489 people found that those who had a vitamin D deficiency were more likely to test positive for the virus. Another study found that 50 people with COVID-19 in the hospital only needed one ICU treatment after being given high doses of vitamin D. Donald Trump received a mixture of vitamin D and zinc along with a number of other promising experimental drugs when he had the coronavirus. So there is like it's a registered dietitian. I don't really want that. But I think there's stuff out there. It's not like it doesn't help. But I was taking these things, and they were helping me tremendously. Like, I was actually feeling better during the day, but I wasn't taking them for the virus. Like, it wasn't my intention at all. Come to find out, my dad was also taking his own type of same thing, same concept, day pack, night pack, same exact type of same brand ideas. Still, you know what I mean? Like a daytime and a nighttime, I'm like seizing out over here. But he was taking GNC, so a GNC daytime and night pack, also highly dosed in vitamin C. So we are living in this house. People around us are COVID. We don't have COVID. We test twice. Never came back positive with COVID. I want to get the antibody test to see if I have had it before, but I think it's been too long now. It's been like 6 months since I had it, so it probably will come back negative. But I get a phone call from the University of Maryland, Baltimore College, and doing a study. And this study is, I don't think I've talked about this on my podcast before. I'm pretty sure I haven't. But what this study's doing is they're taking a collection. So what they call me, is this Michael Labs? I said, yeah, whatever, it's me. We're doing a study for people. This is them talking. We're doing a study for families where people in the house have COVID and one or two people don't have COVID. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, this is a big enough issue that they're actually doing a study, and they're seeing there's something fascinating here, and I really don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor. I'm barely a college student, and I'm just fascinated. And then they ask me, they tell me what the study is, and they're like, well, we're taking, I think it was like 150 people. It was probably, maybe it was more, but they're taking like 150 people. Let's just say 150 people, and we're having a control group where 50 people don't take anything. We don't put them on anything. I need to look up Donald Trump hydrochloroquine. I'm never gonna get it. I don't fucking know. Cool. There it is. Okay, that's what I want. That's what I want right there. Okay, that's okay. So they tell me, let's just use the numbers. We have 50 people who aren't taking it. We're not giving them anything. That's going to be the control group. This is going to be like a 7-week. It was probably like, I think it was like a 4-week thing. So over 28 days. And they wanted to test me like twice a week. I asked them how much they're paying me. They said $100. I was like, okay, fuck you. I'm not doing it. That was literally the reason why so I didn't end up doing this study, but they called me to offer me into the study. I was like, it's not worth it. $100, like, that's nothing. I need more. So they say 50 people are going to be on nothing. We're not going to give them anything. We're going to give 50 people a high dosage of vitamin C. And I'm like, okay, well, this is weird because at this time there was like a lot of stuff going around. You could say conspiracies, but there's a lot of stuff going around that vitamin C helped tremendously with COVID-19. And we know that vitamin C helps with the immune system. We know that a strong immune system obviously helps combat viruses. So I was like, well, that's interesting. Like, they're going to have 50 people like on high doses of vitamin C. Like, clearly they know something that we don't know. And this is University of Maryland, Baltimore College. This is a legit college, you know. And they're doing a legit study. And then the one that really got me, which, hold on to your seats here. This is like June. And they said, and we're also going to have people on a heavy dose of hydrochloroquine, which I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean you're going to put me on hydrochloroquine? Because at the time, this is when Donald Trump was out there just spatting off shit like he does, saying like hydrochloroquine is the answer to COVID-19. Like, this is what he was saying. YouTube, this is not what I'm saying. This is what he's saying. So don't take down my video, you fuckers. And also, I'm pretty sure I'm shadow banned. And YouTube does this thing that every time I upload a video, when I finish the video, I know like, oh, this video is gonna get flagged or whatever, just because of some of the things I say are not controversial, but they're not 100% true, and YouTube has taken the liberty to make themselves to be like the person who decides if things are true or not true. And but every time I challenge one of those videos, like, so they can put so if you have like a green $sign on your video, it means that you're getting 100% ad revenue. Like, all your ads are working, everyone's seeing it, all the viewers of your videos, all age groups, all sexes, all races, everybody is seeing your video. But if you get the yellow $sign, well, they just eliminated some part of the population. They don't tell you who they eliminated. They don't really tell you why. They don't tell you why your video is not. I don't think they don't tell you why your video is not going to be okay for 100% ad revenue until you challenge the video. And then once you challenge the video, then I think they actually get a human person to go in, watch the video, because I think they have like a robot, and the robot decides. They have like a criteria thing, and they decide if your video is eligible or not eligible. And this was super fascinating. So they do this thing. I challenge a video 80% of the time. After I challenge it, it comes back, yeah, your video is fine to be watched. 100% ad revenue for you, which I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's super inconsistent. But I get it. YouTube's huge. They deal with a lot of shit. Anyways, so they tell me we're also doing hydrochloroquine. I'm like, well, this is hilarious, because if at the time, if you watch the news, the media, they're just bashing Donald Trump, saying this is, and I get it. It was irresponsible. He shouldn't say something, especially if it's not solidified by any real science. Even if he's getting science because he's a president, so he gets things that we don't know. He's not getting real science. Like, it's not approved by the FDA or anything. But that was my experience, and I found that really fascinating. After that, I was like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Because I started knowing people who got it, and I knew people who didn't get it, and I knew people like myself who should have got it. I should have gotten it. Like, I should have had COVID, but I didn't get COVID. I know people who ended up in a coma. I know people. Anyways, I just thought that was fascinating. I've been wanting to share that, and I haven't shared it for a long time, or ever, actually, because I was kind of like nervous. Like, there's this weird thing with like COVID that if you had it, been around it, like, you're like an outcast of society, which that's like the scariest thing with COVID. It's like creating a new social class of people. Yeah, so that's that. That was my experience. A few other things I wanted to get into. I hope you guys found that semi-entertaining. I don't know. So a few things that I did want to just kind of run over real quick is my buddy is back from Chicago. His name is Brian. he's really, really, really great guy. He's Lady COVID must be obeyed for Ghost Mask. Maskless Pope blames this lady called COVID for distance. What? Anyways, sorry, I digress. He's been like gone for a while. He was in Chicago working, and I was like, dude, and then he came back, and he was telling me about his he was having a lot of health issues, like a lot of autoimmune stuff. He was very anxious when he left, and he ended up changing his diet up, and he changed it up to a diet that is. It's super problematic for a few reasons. One, I think the biggest issue with this diet that I'm about to talk about is the ethics behind it. People get very concerned about. There's something about death that's very scary for people. I ordered a book called The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker. He was an anthropologist, I think, in the 1970s, and this Denial of Death book just talks about. So why do humans have so much fear of dying? Not fear of dying, but what gives life meaning, right? If we know that we're all going to die, why do we do anything? This is a very philosophical question. It's one that people spend their whole life trying to figure out, but then they die, which the irony there is tremendous. It's hilarious. But it's the truth. Like, why do we give anything meaning if life is ultimately going to end, right? And this is where religion kind of peers open, it tears open the clouds, and it is a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit because, okay, if life has no meaning, then that means you can do whatever you want. But if we can have a place like heaven and hell, it's super black and white, right down the middle. If you do well, you go to heaven. If you do bad, you go to hell. Well, that gives your life meaning. It's something outside of you. It's outside of your own brain. It's something that literally the idea of faith is you give yourself to this idea, something that you can never prove true. You kind of just subscribe to, right? So it gives your whole life a completely different meaning. It's not you anymore. It's you in a religion, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but that's why religion fits so perfect into that, because of the fear of death. It's scary to think that maybe your life means nothing, right? That's a terrible thought for a lot of people. For me personally, I think that is, I think of it the opposite way. I think that is what gives life meaning, is that our life will ultimately die. And I'm big in like the butterfly effect, which sounds super like quirky, but I truly believe that in our life we have people that we meet. We say things to certain people that changes their life. And I think if you can give somebody else a different viewpoint on their experiences in a positive manner, that gives your life meaning, right? That gives death a beautiful thing. I also sold 2 of my books here. The space book, the Sean Carroll book, something deeply hidden inside or within us. Then another book, and like a biology book. Ernest Becker. There's okay. Winner of the Pulitzer Prize, The Denial of Death is Ernest Becker's brilliant and impassioned answer to the why of human existence. In bold contrast to the predominant Freudian school of thought, Becker tackles the problem of the vital lie, man's refusal to acknowledge his own mortality. In doing so, he sheds new light on the nature of humanity and issues a call to life, and it's living that still resonates more than 20 years after its writing. So yeah, I was going to read that book, and then, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was trying to get back to the diet. Yeah. So he gets on this diet, he has a coach, and he feels so good. Like his anxiety's gone. He feels healthier. He's like having like regular bowel movements. He doesn't feel sick. He doesn't feel depressed. And there's a lot of different things that could play a part in that. The power of placebo is also really strong. And I think a lot of people tend to not talk about placebo. I think people tend not to talk about placebo whenever they are doing something that it's really hard to confirm your own biases, especially if you're doing something that you believe in. The moment you see it, a positive effect, you're you're going to contribute to what you want it to be. But I also subscribe to what he's saying, and he got on a diet called the Carnivore Diet. And the Carnivore Diet is essentially you eat like a carnivore. You eat meat, pretty much only meat. That's actually all you eat. You eat meat. And it's changed up his entire feeling within. He feels he's lost too much weight. He's not eating enough meat, which is hard with like keto. Like I've been on keto a lot. I've been on carnivore for like a week one time. I've been a vegan for a while too, like a few months. I've done them all, and this one is super interesting because there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence. Nutrition is one of those things where you are never going to. It's not a hard science. You're never going to be in 100% agreement with anybody. My experience is that people in the fitness world don't like keto diets. They don't like paleo diets. They don't like anything that's carb restrictive, because growing up, you remember you always talked about carbs, about Tom Brady would eat like 2 bowls of pasta before his football games for the carbs. So it's a quick rush of glycogen. It's energy. Carbs equal energy, fat equals bad, protein equals muscle. And that's kind of the way that we've been molded, right? And so it doesn't matter how much science comes out to contradict that. It doesn't matter that here's the truth, which he talks about carnivore diet. I watched a Rogan podcast with Paul Saladino where he talked about, he's a medical doctor. He's trained physician who completed his residency at the University of Washington. He's a board-certified psychiatry and is a certified functional medicine practitioner. He went to medical school at the University of Arizona, where he studied integrative medicine and nutritional biochemistry. Prior to med school, Paul spent 4 years working in cardiology as a physician assistant after adopting the carnivore diet to help with his eczema. Anyway, so those are some of his that's his background. That's some of his credits. And I've listened to a lot of different Joe Rogan podcasts with certain carnivore diet people. Carnivore diets. He has plenty out there. There really is. There's a lot out there. He's done. He did one with Paul Saladino. Dr. Sean Baker is the one that's probably the most popular. Dr. Sean Baker is a huge proponent of the carnivore diet. He's an orthopedic surgeon, world record holder, and master athlete. So he's the big doctor in the meat diet, and that's kind of where I first heard of the carnivore diet, and I've tried it before, and I like it. It's good. It's worked for me for a few weeks, but he my buddy kind of got me back into it. So I'm giving it a go again. That's kind of something I'm really excited to just kind of let you guys know, because, the podcast is basically just insight into my life and something that I'm giving it a go right now. So what's really fascinating with me is I'm keeping my calories about 2,500. So that's kind of where my calories have been. The breakdown is between 70-30. That's kind of where I'm keeping my fat to protein intake, is the 70-30 split, which isn't. I think that's normal. I think if you're working out harder, you want to add a little bit more protein. No. Yeah, so 70% fat, 30% protein, which comes out to me, for me, it's about 200 grams of protein a day, 195 grams of protein a day, 10 carbs, 185 grams of fat. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to try to do it all of November, maybe into the holidays. I might introduce like 1 day a week, have a day where I eat carbs. I'm not too sure, but I am excited to give it a go. The thing I'm most excited about is to read this book. It's called The Carnivore Code. I'm going to crush this book. It's my friend's book, so I want to get it back to him. But it just goes into the science, like the cutting edge science of the carnivore diet. And I'm going to give you guys updates, like weekly updates. Probably every podcast I'm going to talk about it a little bit, because I'm always critical. I'm always interested to do the things that people are most critical on, which is kind of my personality, which I don't know if is a healthy thing to have. I've always been that way. I always like to, like, if someone says don't do something, or someone says it's they have a critique on it that isn't like, I look at them like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you haven't tried it. I'm gonna end up doing it, right? I want to do it, and I kind of feel that way about this diet. But I've also done keto, and I love keto. Every time I'm on keto, I don't feel hunger anymore. I forget to eat, which sucks, but I don't get hungry. But I feel like the mental clarity I have no anxiety, I have no stress, I have no cravings. I don't have like, for someone like me who is a food addict, like, I binge food. Like, I don't drink ever, I don't do drugs, but I will binge my fucking brain out. I will eat so much food at a sitting, which I know is not healthy, but it's kind of like, it's the thing I do. It's the thing that's unhealthy about me. But the keto and the carnivore just kind of eliminates that. The difference between keto and carnivore is that the keto isn't going to, the keto lets me have like a decent amount of carbs, like under 30 carbs. Carnivore's no carbs. Like, I had, my breakfast, and that's also another thing I do. I'm kind of fasting. I'm going to have like a 10-hour eating window, which is a normal eating window. I might even throw in a day where I just don't eat, like I fast all day. I love experimenting. I love trying things out. And this is the new thing I'm trying out, and it's super exciting. Kind of gives my life, switches it up a little bit. But like for breakfast, for example, I had, and I don't think I'm supposed to have butter, but I had butter. I ordered, what else did I order? I ordered his supplements. He got me good. I paid him. I ordered he calls it the nose to tail diet. So basically what it is if you eat everything between the nose and the tail of an animal, you can get all the vitamins, everything that you need to survive comes between the nose and the tail. So literally the tail, literally the nose, the brain, the lungs, the liver, the heart, the I say brain already? Everything, every organ in the body you eat, right? The stomach, everything. If you eat all that, you can get just as many vitamins as you can from plants. And his big thing, which I find super fascinating, which I'm interested in, not listen back from you guys, but I'm interested for you guys to interpret this your way. Meat, as long as it's not spoiled meat, and as long as the animal doesn't have a parasite in it, you can eat all meat in the world and it's not going to hurt you, right? But there's plants out there that will kill you if you eat the wrong one. Not even if they're like spoiled plants, but just because the toxins in it. Like there's like, he was saying that like almonds, not almonds, but like there was plums, or like those fruits that have like the seeds in the middle. Those have an extreme high level of toxins in them that can kill you, that they actually used to put in trail mix. He was also saying that the seeds inside of apples have a toxin in apple seeds. There's a toxin. It's called hemigladin. Hemigladin is a naturally occurring chemical compound best known for being falsely promoted as a cancer cure. It is found in many plants. It's not good. It's basically not good for you. Is it lethal? Cyanide toxicity, or intake of 500 milligrams of hemigladin contains up to 30 milligrams of cyanide. A minimum lethal dose of cyanide is approximately 50 milligrams. So it literally, apples have a seed that if you eat it, and if you eat too many of the seeds and you feed it to dog, you can literally die. But that doesn't exist in meat, which I find super fascinating. Like, I don't know, but I'm just really excited to give it a go, and I'm going to give you guys updates on it. But yeah, the Carnivore Code. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to constantly talk about it. I'm very excited for it. It looks like it has real evidence, and so that's going to be what I'm doing. Another thing I just want to get into real quick, because I don't want it to, the title to be a complete clickbait, and I have 10 minutes here left. So I was listening to, because in the title I'm using his name, the new Rogan podcast that went up on Tuesday. What's today? Today's Wednesday. So it went up on Tuesday. It was with Alex Jones and Tim Dillon. it's always so interesting to me how every time he makes an appearance, people lose their mind. And I get it. Like, I understand the guy is probably schizophrenic. He said the biggest thing that he got in trouble for, which obviously he should have, was the Sandy Hook thing. He basically called it a hoax. Like, you can't say that. You can't call Sandy Hook a hoax. Once you're doing that, you're being this is very dangerous, right? You just can't do that. But he has said a lot of things that are very true. But every time his name comes up, people lose their mind. And if you listen to the podcast, there's times in it where you're like, this guy's completely gone left field. He's completely lost his mind. But the thing that's really confusing with him is that people try to eliminate his voice from the world, right? People believe in free speech. Once you say that you believe in free speech, you have to understand that when you say that, you're accepting the entire spectrum of free speech, right? Unless it hurts somebody, or I wouldn't even say hateful, but if it directly is physically dangerous to somebody, if your speech is directly physically endangers somebody, well, then it's not speech anymore. It's call to action to hurt. But if you are a proponent of free speech, even if someone says something that is absolutely insane, something that you think is absolutely wrong, disgusting, hurtful, by you saying that you are a free speech activist, you are accepting that person is allowed to say that. You cannot censor that. It gets really dangerous because the idea of free speech is only free unless it's going against what you think should be true. And I'm always so fascinated when he comes on because he says things, in my opinion, that make sense. But sometimes he says things to me that are just off the wall. And I know for me, when I listen to it, I'm like, well, he's schizophrenic. Like, you can't take everything he says serious because the dude's not all there. Why is Rogan giving him a platform? Like, fuck you guys to say that, because they're friends. Like, I have crazy friends. I talk to them. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have crazy friends. And at the same time, people who want to help the mentally ill, if the mentally ill talk, like Alex Jones could be schizophrenic, don't you want to help him instead of attacking him? I don't know. The one thing that I found really interesting, which I actually laughed out loud when I heard, was that Spotify, people are starting to delete their Spotify accounts. So when you don't like somebody, when somebody upsets you, when somebody does something that you don't like, the last thing you do is not interact with that. Like the last thing you do is to remove Spotify from your phone because you didn't like Joe Rogan's podcast, because first of all, he just won. If there's a competition, he just beat you. You literally just ran the other way. And also, you're not going to listen to music anymore, bro. Like, just delete the podcast. But you don't delete the whole app. I don't know. Here we go. This could get me in trouble. I thoroughly enjoyed the podcast. I thought it was interesting. I thought towards the end of it, like literally the last 10 minutes of it, which I'm sure people didn't get to, they just take clips and they make them viral, and people lose their freaking mind when they hear certain clips, because that's what people do, because people have the attention spans of an ant. And I'm the last one to say anything because I don't have an attention span either. But you listen to the whole podcast, at the end of it, you can tell, like you feel empathy for the dude. The dude's exhausted. And he has said a lot of things that come out as truth. He called the Jerry Epstein thing months ago, like years ago. I think like back in 2013, Rogan was saying. And it came out and nobody talks about it. Still to this day, there's little girls who were raped on an island by old people. Possibly Bill Clinton. I'm not saying it was or it wasn't, but he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of people were. But we don't talk about these things because if you point your finger to something that is dangerous, the assumption is that not everyone is at fault. But if everyone's at fault, nobody points a finger. If everybody's corrupt, you can't point the finger, right? And if everyone's corrupt and they also have power, the corruptness never gets fixed. So I don't know. I liked it. A lot of people hated it. I'm probably people are not gonna like that I liked it, which is fuck you. Don't like. Who cares if I like something that you don't like? But I don't know. That's that. There's a few things I just want to cover today. I just want to get like the coronavirus, my personal experience with it, not having it, but being around it, talking about it. I'm gonna read this book. I'm probably gonna have it done by the next time I see you guys. I haven't been extremely excited to read a book in a while, but I'm actually extremely excited to read this book and get it back to him because it's not my book. I was waiting for Denial of Death to come in. It's not gonna be here till Sunday, so I was like, "Fuck, man, what am I gonna do in the meantime?" Like I haven't not had a book to read in like months, like years actually. I still can't believe I've read all these books. I have way too much stuff going on in my brain at all times. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that Alex Jones thing. I want to talk about this book. Yeah, that's all. That's all I got. That's all I got, guys. 40-minute podcast. Thank you so much for showing love. Follow me on Twitter. I made a Twitter. Michael Labs R. What else? Follow Instagram. Hit that Robinhood link in the description if you guys want to get yourself a free stock. Stock market is completely crashed right now. So just remember that people love to buy discounts. People love to go to the store. You can get a gallon of milk for $4 instead of $6. You buy it because it's discounted. The whole stock market right now is discounted. It's a good time to get in the market, buy shit. Use my link. Get a free stock. I get a free stock. We're all happy. I love you guys so much. Thank you for enjoying the podcast. I'll catch you guys in episode 136 of the Michael Labs Show. I may start doing 3 episodes a week. I'm not 100% sure, but 4 additional podcasts a month sounds like a lot of work, but I will let you guys know. I'll see you guys in the next episode 136 of the Michael Labs Show. In the meantime, have a blessed, beautiful weekend. Enjoy it. And I'll see you guys Tuesday when we have our next president confirmed. Love you guys. See ya.